if we're traveling back in time, can we interact, or are we like a ghost in viewing the past?
Well, I suppose we get to choose, because I mean, the ghost viewing the past is too easy, right? It's like, oh, I've gone back and I'm an ethereal ghost flying over a battlefield or something, and I'm in no danger. Yeah, no, that's way too easy. So I think it's your temporal self who goes back in time, and I think the best rule would be you're trapped there.
Ooh.
But moreover, you don't get to stay in the present. So you're like walking along, and suddenly a portal opens up under your feet, and you sucked in. Where in the sort of Rawlsian veil of ignorance are you trying to, oh, please, Lord, let me end up in...
Not India, not India.
Yesterday.
Any time in history.
So yeah, you're going to arrive at some point back in time, and you're going to stay there forever. So yeah, exactly. And now it's a much more difficult question, isn't it?
It's not fun.
No,
My
exactly.
answers won't be fun anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Can both give us fun answers
Well, yeah, let's have the
first?
fun answers first.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Okay, because the real answer would be, before I say fun things, is you don't want to live before penicillin.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the answer.
No, it's totally true. It's totally true.
So yeah, yesterday is the best answer.
Or
Yeah.
maybe 2 days ago.
Yeah, certainly not before like the 50s, 1950s.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my first answer then is I really need to see the Giza Plateau during the age of the Great Pyramids being built.
Interesting.
That would be my first answer. I've got loads and loads of answers to this,
Yeah.
but that's the first one.
I wouldn't
I've
have
got
guessed
one
that
shot.
from you. I thought it would have been, ancient Rome or Greece.
Well, he
or
wants to see
something
the
like
aliens.
Well, of course, I'd like to see I'd like to see Athens, Pericles, pre-plague. I'd like to see.
Yeah, but you're going to end up living through the
first,
plague.
right? Oh, yeah. All right, so 40 years before the plague. So I die of old age just before the plague, or 1st century BC Rome, sort of the age of Augustus after Actium,
Yeah,
golden age.
I'd like to be the guy who gives Socrates the hemlock.
that. Boo.
Oh, well, you don't like
Socrates was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
If it were the ghost one, I'd love to see the Romans going to Anglesey for the first time, and all the druids self-immolating and freaking out the Romans, because I imagine that would have been something to behold, just absolutely terrifying them. Right?
Apparently, they built a massive makeshift temporary pontoon bridge across that stretch of water there, like Xerxes, a la Xerxes and the Hellespont.
Yeah.
That would have been, that'd be really cool to see. But again, all of these things for me pale in comparison to how the Great Pyramid of Giza was built. I don't want to just, if you have to stay there and live there, I actually need to see the process, which was, if you believe the archaeologists,
Well, would you
between
want to...
20 and 30 years long.
When you say
Go
the
pick
archaeologists,
up a copper hammer.
you
Get on
mean
with it,
Graham Hancock?
You what, sorry?
Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
They were
I-
using-
I don't think we mean Graham Hancock.
They're using
on that same-
telepathy. Yeah.
Sorry,
that
go on.
same
One at a time.
kind of logic, would you want to also go back and see how Stonehenge was constructed?
Yeah, sure. But that's much more than one lifetime. That's the thing. Stonehenge was built over a series of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, Stonehenge, and rearranged and all sorts of stuff. Whereas if you believe the narrative, which isn't really all that believable, they built the Great Pyramid from scratch in between 20 and 30 years.
Yeah.
So if that is the case...
So you arrive on day one, they put the first stone down, and you're like, hang on, I should have got here on the last day. Should have gone for the last day. I shouldn't have been here for day one. I've got a long time to wait now. Jesus.
You're there with the deck chair, just waiting.
You might not even last at the end of it.
I just want a time lapse of it. Instead of me falling through the portal, I'll send a drone through with a time lapse camera on it that just hovers above the plateau for 30 years.
You can just arrive on the last day, and
But then I might might not understand the secrets of how it was done, though.
Well, yeah,
They've
but
already removed the great.
yeah, but you can live through his son's one, can't you? Because his son's one right next to it.
Yeah.
So you can watch them, so you can see the full thing and his son building his.
Also, if with the rules of moving to a time and being stuck there, do you have any ability to communicate? Are we speaking modern English to, the time period in which we travel to?
Well, I mean, if I was going to be a killjoy, I'd say yes. But for the fun of it, no. You somehow you've arrived like a quantum leap inside someone's body, and so you speak the language that they speak.
Okay.
We've got a little fish in your ear, like Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah,
You can just understand everything and speak everything.
Now the quantum leap one's better because then you can communicate properly with them as well. And also, you don't look odd to the people around you. Right? So you're living a normal life. You're just like, oh, right, okay, yeah, I've got to sacrifice this goat. Good point. What the hell's doing?
Because if Harry or Josh turned up in Old Kingdom Egypt, they would be like giants.
We'd be worshipped.
Let's tag team and take over ancient Egypt.
What we can do a dual clothesline of the pharaoh.
It's literally the picture of
You'd be killed so quickly.
Henry Cavill in the pharaoh outfit or whatever.
gonna-
It's the shag guy.
I'm going to powerbomb Tutankhamun and take over.
Right. Okay. So we're quantum leaping, but there's no way back. This is your life for the rest of your life, and you're going pyramid building in Egypt.
Yeah, with a big stash of painkillers with me.
Got no painkillers.
Oh,
I think we're just gonna have to accept that
okay,
You might
life
die.
Okay.
life is hard.
okay. I go.
Things are going.
Can I take a
I
gun?
go ancient Egypt.
Damn.
You arrive in someone else's body.
I was going to go back.
So Harry, you're not even going to be tall.
I was going to go back. I was going to shoot William the Conqueror and save
Got up
England.
to Harold Godwinson. Don't let them run down.
You don't know what you're doing.
But then that does open the question of, okay, well, this means there are going to be a series of alternate histories now, right? Because yeah, I probably would do that as well, right? Like, look, you don't have to march all the way down there. Just get more reserves. It's fine. Some of them more of the feared. Like what the consequence of like a non-Norman England is a distinctly un-imperial England, right?
Possibly. I mean, who knows? Yeah. I mean, more likely.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's like it seems a lot more likely that without the Normans, England's a lot more of a parochial, better, kind of more interesting place. I'm joking. It'll be less interesting. Backwater for 1,000 years.
Or we're more likely to have a Viking invasion succeed post the 1060s.
Maybe.
Because Vikings didn't go away until like the 12th century.
Yeah, maybe. But
Anyway.
That's a good point. I would kill William the Conqueror and then rejoin my people in the north.
Right.
Yeah,
And then conquer from Scandinavia.
Literally harrying the north.
There you go.
Hey.
Whey!
I don't know.
Come my own ancestors.
I suspect after Harold Hardrada's defeat, then I don't see the Vikings getting it together. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible.
There were a few attempts in the 10th and 11th century, but
They weren't terribly impressive, and Harold Hardrada was the high watermark because he was the guy, man. He was the guy. It's like they didn't have another champion like him afterwards. So I think we're safe from the Vikings.
go back to Stamford Bridge with a 50 cal and take out Harold Godwinson, so that Harold Hardrada can win.
Well, that's the only way he's going to beat him.
I'm a bit conflicted about the Normans, actually, because on the one hand, they're foreigners invading our land, but on the other, they brought lots of good stuff, like lots of the best English words come from the Normans. I'm showing my southern colours here.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this Anglish Twitter account that exists, where they're just trying to recreate the English language without continental words. So, for example, dictionary becomes word book, right? And stuff like this, and I'm totally opposed to everything you've just said.
We have to return to Grug.
Yeah, exactly. The good thing about the English words is that they're just dumb. They're really short and dumb, and they've got this kind of lizard brain tone to them. It's like, oh no, we're going to have highfalutin Latin words. No, screw your Latin words. We didn't have a word for surrender until we got your Latin words. Right?
Speaking of which, if I were being completely honest, I would go back to pre-Roman invasion and just be like, listen.
Yeah, but the ancient Britons sucked.
Yeah, well, I'd make them good. Be like,
Josh would give them all grenades.
I would, yeah.
They were genuinely kind of like not very good at stuff.
Well, it's all right. I would become their ruler with all of this divine knowledge, right?
Oh yeah, that's totally true.
That's the other thing. When you have daydreams about going back in time, it's like, oh, I would make my own grenades then. I'd fashion and design my own gun. It's like, yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
because you've got no idea how to actually do those things.
This is the thing. I've always thought about this, right? Electricity. How would I create electricity? It's like, I have no idea how to make a battery or how to make a motor. I just don't. I mean, I remember like something, a copper coil. Something. I did it in school.
It's like, I'll just get a magnet in a copper coil. Yeah, I don't know how to fashion a magnet
where do I get a magnet
of thin
from?
air. I don't know how to mine copper. I don't know how to make copper much more.
I'm going to steal.
Well, they already know that.
Yeah, I'm going to steal man Josh and say, we'll figure it out.
Well, I'm of the opinion that I reckon I can sort of get to the point of late medieval technology, and that's good enough for me. And I can live with that.
Technology.
Yeah.
How are you going to make that?
Well,
like what specifically?
Like a trebuchet.
But you're going to...
maybe not a trebuchet, but
What about a steel breastplate?
it's all right. I'd be like, hey, there are these metals. You combine them, and you get good at that. Go on. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be the one.
All right, you're going to tell other
what,
people. By the way, there's this thing called steel that I know.
Trust me, it works. It works.
There are already blacksmiths that are going to be much better than me. So it's better that I be the person organising things and then telling people who already have pre-existing knowledge. Because the Britons weren't exactly bad at metallurgy, were they?
Well, they weren't notable
Yeah.
for it.
I've actually thought about this. Say your quantum leaps back to, let's just say, the reign of Edward I, right? What you could do, assuming you had the ear of the king and he would listen to you, you say, we're going to make a sort of a research and development program based out of the White Tower in the Tower of London. And I don't know how to actually do things. What I can do is give the brightest minds of the age like a nudge in the right direction. Like, I don't know how to make really high-tempered quality steel, but I know there's like this element to it. Go away and do research and development and sort of figure it out for yourself, but I'll nudge you sort of in the right directions. I don't really understand the periodic table properly, but there is such a thing as a periodic table. Now you go away and see if you can figure it out.
All I need you to do is kill Dankula's ancestor.
For a start, I'd be like, look, just don't bother. For the next 1,000 years, they're going to be whining about this, and they're never going to let it go. They're going to have this constant chip on their shoulder. Just look, there's a reason that Hadrian built a wall, okay? Just rebuild the wall, garrison it, just push them off into the North Sea. But I always thought this would be a great story, right? So you're some guy, somehow you get sucked into a wormhole, and you're in some sort of medieval court, and eventually they manage to start communicating, and you're like, okay, you're from the future, fair enough. And they're like, great, make us some future things. You're like, I don't know how. And they're like, hey, do it or we're going to kill you. And it's like, oh, shit.
But they'll surely understand specializations, right? If you say, well, in the future, I was doing this, but I have knowledge of this, they would be able to understand that. It's not like, even in their own time, not everyone makes everything.
Sure, but
they're not going to care that much if you go, oh, what did you do in your time? Well, I went on this thing called the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
And
make us an internet.
And other people on the internet watched me on the internet complaining about other things going on the internet. And they would say, right, we're going to kill you now.
If I told them I understood the human brain, they would be fascinated by that, right?
Well, then they hand you a brain.
Yeah, but then they look at your watch and say, well, okay, make us one of those. And you'd be like, okay, I can't do that.
Like, you can keep it. Just give me a good house.
The thing is, as well,
this one's on me, booby.
I think the level of technology is not as specialized as it is now, right? So, okay, the average person might not have been, making nails or, iron or whatever, but they're probably going to have a rough idea of how it's done. They'll be like, okay, I'll need a forge and I'll need to figure it out. But you have no idea how the digital stuff in your watch is made, right?
No, I don't even have an idea of how the clockwork ones are made.
Exactly. So, right, okay, I need a circuit board. Because a circuit board, how do I if you actually just look at any of the technology you're carrying, like your phone, no, there's magic, mate.
I think it'd be a blessing not to have a watch in a way, because you lived to a different standard in the past, and I can tell the time roughly by the position of the sun. I grew up in the countryside, and so I'm fine with that. That's good enough. I know when it's nighttime and when it's daytime. I can live with that.
Sure, okay, but the point is, any technology you'd have on you, they'd want a replica of, and they'd be like, okay, we want you to make that. You'd be like, okay, I can't. I'm an idiot, actually.
If you do it the other way around and you have an old technology that we don't have anymore, and you actually, whilst you're there, you write down how it's like Greek fire or something, and then we know now in this time how to do it still.
It wouldn't be worth if you, again, going back to sort of the early medieval times, you start talking about television or the internet. There's no point, really. And so how does that work? And you say, well, there's tiny packets of light that go a million miles, and it makes up an image.
Let me explain wireless and fiber optic to you.
They would just say, well, that's obviously a lie and mad.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I've thought about how to explain electricity, though. You sort of imitate a lightning bolt, and you sort of signal that, you get long bits of electricity, metal to simulate the wires. And, we run things with the lightning, and that makes you sound really cool as well. It's just like,
so
God.
Makes you sound like a witch.
So what you say...
It might be burnt alive.
So what you say is you run around with a big piece of metal chasing lightning, going, don't worry, guys, it'll work this time, I swear.
What,
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, the keys on the kite.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't need to go too far in the past when people were actually doing that.
But they will kill you for it.
They'll find it curious.
They'll point at you and say, he's drawing the lightning. He's trying to kill us. Kill him first, quick.
They'd think of me as like a village idiot.
I think your main problem is that you won't know the Christian liturgies. The hymns. No, I really mean it. Like,
yeah. Josh,
okay, we're going to the church now, and so we're going to sing the
atheist.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to be like, you're going to be like, well, I don't believe in God. And they're like, no.
Well, that's why
that's not how it works here.
Yeah, exactly. We've literally just got back from the crusade, okay?
Pre-Roman Britain, that's why I chose that. I don't need to know it that way.
You don't know anything about the gods. Like, they'll view you as being evil because religion was a cipher for morality.
I did a 2-part contemplations on the Brittonic gods.
Okay, well, sacrifice the goat then, can't you?
Well, that's easy. You just cut its throat.
Okay, but what's the ritual that you have to do around it?
I don't know.
Exactly.
They're not going to be like, oh, you've just turned up. Should you do our most sacred rituals for us?
Who knows? We don't know.
I'd be surprised.
We went straight into the tangent of how are we just going to bring the modern world into the ancient or medieval place we've just been quantum leaped into?
Good point. We need to stop the modern world.
What was your...
How are we going to destroy it?
What place would you go, Carl, if you had to go one place?
Well, actually, we'll go to Harry then. Harry,
okay.
Assuming you're going to get quantum leaped back at some point in time.
Right, if I was going to do your thing, in that case, I would say the day before Nixon took America off the gold standard, and I would immediately invest all of my money in cheap gold.
Unfortunately, you have to go back to sometime before penicillin.
Why?
Because Bo really hates it.
Do you not think that would be clever? Gold immediately skyrocketed.
I'm not saying Back to the Future too.
Yeah, you go with the sports almanac angle.
Yeah.
Just make loads of money out of it.
Why not? Josh's whole idea was finally, if I get to medieval times, I can afford a house. So why?
Well, I wanted to go to pre-Roman times to
live in a mud.
To be fair, you do have a bit of the Biff sort of haircut, you know.
There you go, exactly. Imagine the bullying I could do.
I'm surprised you didn't say the heyday of WWE.
Well, I did on the podcast earlier say that I would go to WrestleMania 3 and see Hogan deliver the power slam to Andre the Giant. Also, another alternative one in the 1980s, I would go to 1989 and see Metallica perform in Seattle for their And Justice for All.
Definitely before penicillin.
Why can't I do something cool? Why can't I do something?
Surely Metallica in Russia.
Cool things that happen in history.
To watch the full video, please become a premium member at lotuseaters.com.